revival. What do you believe youth will play in the final moments of church history, and what should the church leaders do to empower them instead of controlling them?
So if you look at the story of the 12 disciples, as far as we know, most of them were probably in late teens, early 20s. We know that fact because Peter was living in the early AD 60s with life expectancy at about 40 in Israel at the time. He was a young man when Jesus called him by the Sea of Galilee. John was a young teenager because he lived all the way through to almost 80 or 90 AD. And so God turned the world upside down with those 11 disciples. And you think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Joseph, and Samuel, and Esther. All of these stories from the Bible are of young people who were faithful to God. And when they were faithful to God, God used them in incredible ways. Did they go through suffering? Yes. Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace. Joseph was thrown into prison unjustly. Esther risked her life, and so forth. So each of these young people was willing to risk their life, but God blessed all his people through their bravery and through their fidelity to truth. And so I think it's imperative for young people to covenant in their hearts with God that no matter what, they will stand for truth. And also to recognize that as you go through life, you also grow in your understanding. That what is clear to you at the age of 16, what is, you might say, very black and white, by the time you're 40, there are shades of gray in there. By the time you're 80, it's mostly gray. Very little is black or white anymore. Take a look at the examples of Scripture. God did incredible things through teenagers, and Samuel was a small boy, 3 or 4 years old when God called him. We also know from the Great Awakening in the 1830s and the Advent movement in the 1840s, we also know that God used children and teens to preach when it was illegal for adults to do so. And even today, teenagers can preach and say things where an adult like myself could be accused and prosecuted for hate crimes in certain countries of the West today. So young people can